Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Inside Africa. Our first stop is in Ghana, where the Acting Inspector General of Police Mohammed Ahmed Al Hassan and transport union operators have undertaken road checks on the Accra-Winneba Cape Coast Highway. This involved ascertaining the extent of recent road accidents and educating drivers to observe road safety regulations. The acting IGP was disappointed at the rising number of accidents on the Accra-Winneba Cape Coast Road. He reminded motorists that road safety should be a shared responsibility of all Ghanaians.
The Accra-Winneba Cape Coast Road is a very busy stretch. The road is noted to be one of the most accident-prone roads in the country. Just some few days ago, 3 accidents occurred on that stretch of road, killing 9 passengers on the spot, while 4 others, including a Catholic priest, also died. 13 other passengers were involved in another accident on that same stretch of road. The Acting Inspector General of Police, together with his men, visited the accident-prone sections of the Winneba-Apam Cape Coast Road. The team intercepted a number of drivers for overspeeding, driving with worn-out tires, not using seat belts, alcohol intake, among other road offences. The acting IGP, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al Hassan, bemoaned the poor attitude of Ghanaians, especially drivers, for not adhering to road safety regulations. He cautioned that the activities of drivers are seriously going to be monitored through surveillance units, and therefore drivers will not go unpunished. He said they will not relent until drivers adhere to road safety regulations.
We need to save lives. As we are all aware, we are standing in an area where it's noted for a lot of accidents. It's just unacceptable. If you lose one finger, we don't want it, let alone losing lives. If I should give you the statistics for February, it's quite alarming. This shouldn't happen in our dear country here.
The acting IGP and his men also used the opportunity to educate drivers on some of the avoidable road accidents. On his part, the commander of the police MTTU, ACP Andrew Awuni, said a sports fine will soon be introduced to check the numerous indiscipline on our roads.
It's a must that they should know the law, because in our country, ignorance of the law is no defense. So we've asked the union leaders to buy copies of the law and impose them on the drivers and organize seminars and training courses so that their members will be abreast with the law.
The Cape Coast Regional Police Commander, Stephen Adukofi, stressed that drivers, car owners, passengers and road transport operators must all be educated to reduce the spate of accidents on our roads. He said it is the duty of passengers to call drivers to order when they are not observing road traffic regulations.
The 2012 Annual Crime Overview indicates that cybercrime is one of the most common crimes committed in Ghana. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Ahmed Al Hassan, said the emergence of cybercrime in the country is affecting even individuals, and there is a need to fight it. He made these remarks at the opening of a two-week cybercrime and forensic seminar in Accra.
The use of information and communications technology in the developing world has undergone tremendous growth, bringing about a significant change in the way of life of people. But the emergence of cyber crimes has had negative impact on society. The 2012 Annual Crime Overview of the Ghana Police Service shows an increase of 12% of cyber crimes as against other crime indexes. This has called for the need to train detectives to combat the menace. 43 detectives have been selected from different police stations across the country to undergo training in cybercrime and digital forensics. The training is expected to equip detectives to investigate cyber-related criminal cases. Participants will be taken through topics such as internet technology for law enforcement, internet investigations, email forensics, among others. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al Hassan, urged the participants to bring to bear the knowledge they will acquire during the training. The training is part of a 5-year national policing strategic plan with the aim of restoring public confidence in the police. The E-Crime Project is an initiative between the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service and E-Crime Bureau, a cybersecurity and investigation firm based in Accra.
Taking you now to Uganda, a teacher was killed instantly after he was struck by lightning at Kiabugama village in Masoka. 2 other teachers and 7 people sustained injuries and are admitted at the Masaka Referral Hospital.
The incident occurred around 9:30 a.m. as Karim Chiseka, the deputy headmaster at Chabagoma Muslim Primary School, made his way out of one class to teach another. There is a shortage of personnel at the school currently because teachers have absconded from duty due to delay in pay. With only 4 teachers left to cater for the whole school, Chiseka had to attend to more than one class, and that is when disaster struck. Two other teachers were injured along with 7 of their pupils.
But they are all in fair condition. One of them has sustained a small injury on the head and is being cared for. We have 7 pupils. We have 1 from P5, we have some from P3 and P4. They are all in good condition.
Bukoman Simbi Education Officer Patrick Ziwa says the incident was unfortunate, but added that measures to avert accidents like these ought to have been put in place.
The government provided lightning conductors at subsidized prices from a supplier, but many of our schools have not been able to fix the lightning conductors on the school buildings.
In 2011, lightning killed dozens of people around the country, with the government starting campaigns to have lightning conductors installed on all major buildings, especially schools. The Meteorology Department has also warned that Entebbe, Tororo, and upcountry areas with large amounts of iron in the soil are most prone to the lightning strikes. Experts advise that when there is a slight drizzle accompanied by strong winds, one ought to run and keep indoors or get into a car in order to stay safe.
Now, exotic animal exports from Uganda are a lucrative business, but conservationists have managed to outlaw the private trade. Let's take a watch.
Ronald Nsagu is a professional hunter. He says he used to make a living catching snakes, chameleons and parrots for export.
Kati sente siza amaanyi sente tonotono aba yagadde atwaya akasente kuba ebintu ebyo tubiriisa kati tubikunganya bukunganya.
He catches a Jameson's mamba. This species sells for about $700 in Europe as an exotic pet, although he was always paid much less. He says now he only catches for licensed zoos. Regulations have tightened, but illegal wildlife exports continue. Customs officials found this chimpanzee with her sister in crates at the airport. Now they live in this wildlife sanctuary. While smaller wild animals are hunted from the bush, the chimps must have been taken from one of Uganda's nature reserves. The ivory from just one can be worth thousands of dollars. Last year, over 20,000 elephants in Africa were killed. Demand in Asia is growing, despite an international ivory ban. These traps were recovered by rangers in the park. This one specifically targets elephants.
They make a hole down here, such that this log is planted down. They make sure that the thing is on the path of an elephant. The elephant will step on it. They will come for it. They will begin spearing it down and they kill it.
Back at the sanctuary, this baby elephant was brought in by villagers after his parents were killed for ivory. He can never go back to the wild. And as long as there's a demand for wildlife and its products in richer countries, it's hard to see how the supply from poorer ones can be stopped.
Away from Uganda, soaring energy costs are squeezing South African budgets. The price of petrol has risen by 7% to a record high of $1.42 a litre. South Africans have also learnt of an 8% jump in electricity costs.
Taking a car on the road in South Africa costs more now than ever before. But it's an essential mode of transport for Carol Baloyi, who spends 2.5 hours a day commuting to work. She used to take public transport, catching a shared taxi.
Well, taxis are not safe. I've been using them for 4 years, but you pray to be safe because it's not guaranteed the way the taxi drivers drive.
Soon South Africans will have to pay 8% more for electricity. From Wednesday, petrol is up 7% to a record high. Fuel taxes are going up too. Baloyi is also bracing for the beginning of a motorway toll scheme in Johannesburg.
Everything is getting more expensive. Everything, starting from your bank interest rates to your food, the petrol, the schools, the rent, the electricity. So this life, it's all about prioritizing, knowing what do you need and what you want.
Higher international crude prices and a weak rand are being blamed. Right now, the Minister of Energy is reviewing the basic fuel price, or BFP, but fuel wholesaler Peter Noak says people shouldn't get their hopes up.
But I've always said be careful what you wish for, because the current system and formulas were reviewed in 2003. So having done that now, it's 10 years later, we could find ourselves with a little bit of extra costs.
With no relief in sight, people like Baloyi will have to keep making cuts to the family budget to keep the wheels turning.
In Africa, there is an increasing number of people curious about Chinese culture. A special school in the South African capital of Pretoria is doing its part to educate kids from all over the continent. The Pretoria Chinese School opened its doors in South Africa 79 years ago.
The Pretoria Chinese School opened its doors in South Africa 79 years ago. The land for the first school buildings had to be purchased by the Chinese consulate because Chinese immigrants faced discrimination and racism under the old white apartheid government. Back then, Chinese immigrants were denied citizenship. There are nearly 500 learners at this multicultural school, aged between 4 and around 17 years old. And it's compulsory for all of them to study Mandarin.
中文很好玩，因为我们跟我们的朋友都一起玩。
Chinese is nice to do because we can do it with our friends at the same time.
It makes me proud as a Chinese person that everyone wants to be a part of the Chinese culture.
As South Africans, we are exposed to many very different cultures, but being exposed to Chinese, it's completely different. It broadens your horizons like you cannot believe.
Most parents that enroll their children at our school not only do it for the academic excellence, but also for the values that the Chinese culture instill, the values of discipline and respect and humility, which are very important at this school.
The most enjoyable part about my teaching or my job is that from a child, they started with nothing. They don't know any Chinese at all, and then they start learning the greeting words and the numbers and the counting, and then simple songs and basic sentence structures and all that, and gradually they are able to understand a bit and speak a little bit. So that, to me, it makes my job very rewarding.
When we came to the Pretoria Chinese School, we really liked the feel of the school, the size of the classrooms, as well as whether our children can fit in here or not. Especially given our religion and things like that, and it was very accommodating to our culture and our religion, as well as we wanted to instill the Chinese culture in our children as well, because it gives them a better opportunity going forward.
We look at the business side of, you know, where we're going to be in the future, and obviously Chinese is the future. It's where everyone's going. It's where the world is going.
As a Chinese, I'm really excited, and I've been very touched. I like that because there's a lot of races, so we can understand different cultures from different countries.
学中文很特别，因为他们中国人像我家人，我们的学校很小，所以我跟他们是一个家人，一个家庭，所以我很开心。
Learning Chinese is very special because our school is very close-knit, so we can now all communicate in Chinese and we're just like one big family.
Now, Sudan is one of China's most important trading partners in sub-Saharan Africa, but the relationship is not purely economic. China has been promoting its culture in Sudan through opening cultural centers, organizing exhibitions, and sending Sudanese students to study in China's universities.
Sarah and Nahid speak Mandarin Chinese almost with style. They've never been to China, though. Instead, Mandarin has come to their doorstep here in Sudan.
I'm in the 4th year in the Chinese department, and I'm really enjoying it because I'm discovering a new culture. I heard that within 20 years, Chinese will be the most widely spoken language.
Here at a cultural exposition in Khartoum University, China has pride of place. It's showcasing almost every aspect of its culture, from Chinese calligraphy to the Chinese brand of spaghetti and the famous sugarless green tea. Just outside the university, the Confucius Cultural Center has opened a branch. It has already sent dozens of Sudanese to study in China.
They do not come to China only to learn the language. They also study medicine, geometry, information technology, and lots of other fields. They also return with a rich cultural experience.
China has trillions of dollars of investments in Africa, and it has made Sudan the model for its success in the continent. Thanks to China, Sudan was able to export its oil despite US sanctions. China has built gigantic dams like the Merawi, which has turned Sudan into an exporter of electric power. It is also renovating Sudan's railways and other crucial infrastructure projects. It should all be for the good of Sudan, but some believe China has gone too far now.
China has thoroughly studied the Sudanese culture and the Sudanese mindset to the extent that our local jalabia and skull cap and even our traditional handicrafts are now made in China. Sudan has outsourced everything from China. Culture was the only exception, but even that is now being ceded to them as well.
Anger against China took a violent expression in January last year when rebels abducted 29 Chinese workers, causing the death of one of them. There's a perception that China is supporting the Sudanese government against its political opponents with total disregard for its alleged human rights violations in Darfur. China denies the accusations and insists that it has no right to interfere in the internal affairs of its African partners. So for now, Sudanese public opinion is divided. But it's these young friends of China who are likely to define the relationship between the two nations in the future.
Let's now talk something else other than China and her influence on Africa. An Ethiopian entrepreneur who runs the Soul Rubbers shoe factory, which makes shoes and sandals from cycled car tires, is targeting markets in Asia and Europe. Established 9 years ago, the company has grown to produce over 70,000 pairs of shoes.
Soul Rebels is a green footwear company based in Addis Ababa that provides a wide range of unique, colorful shoes for customers looking for shoes made out of recycled materials like used car tires, as well as natural handmade fabrics. 33 years old, Bethlehem Delahun is the brains behind the business. She started the brand in 2004 with an investment of about $10,000 raised by family members. The trendy shoes come in different modern designs and go for between $35 to $95 a pair.
You can see Soul Rebels as an innovative company because we had a culture of doing things, but we innovate something new by tapping on that culture that we had, by tapping in the material that we had here in Ethiopia.
The entrepreneur has managed to market her brand abroad through retails in over 50 countries, including Japan, Canada, and Australia.
We wanna have a branded store just like other big brands outside out there in the world. So we start with Taiwan. We already opened 3 stores. We're gonna open in Singapore in April, and then we're gonna open in Switzerland and other places also. So by doing that, we're accelerating the revenue that we can get from outside to Ethiopia, and we're hiring we're giving more job opportunities for the community.
Bethlehem, a trained accountant, says it has not been easy building the brand abroad, but she is happy with the progress made so far. The entrepreneur is targeting the high demand for eco-suitable products abroad to expand her business. Salt Rebels has been certified by the World Fair Trade Organization and is said to be the world's first fair trade green footwear company. Bethlehem, who is one of Africa's top female entrepreneurs today, has received various international and regional awards for her work. She was also listed as one of the 20 youngest power women in Africa in 2011 by Forbes magazine, making over $1 million in revenue every year. The company manufactures about 800 shoes every day in a production line that has about 100 staff members who make the shoes. About 300 suppliers then distribute the footwear across the country.
Kenyan election officials have finished their slow week-long counting of ballots and named Uhuru Kenyatta the fourth president of Kenya. But predictably, given the violence after the 2007 election, reactions from Kenyans are mixed.
Kenya's Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission says Uhuru Kenyatta secured a slim majority, 50.07% of the vote, to win the presidency. That eliminated the need for a runoff against his main rival, Raila Odinga, who plans to appeal, claiming elections fraud. The mood around the country differs, but most people are urging acceptance of the results and for peace to prevail. In the town of Dagoretti, a Kenyatta stronghold, people like Anne Banika are pleased with the outcome.
The election was fair and good because there was no fight, there was no tension.
Both Kenyatta and Odinga supporters live in the Nairobi slum of Mathare, an area heavily impacted by the 2007 and 2008 post-election violence. Resident Hesben Osiga says that he is willing to accept Kenyatta as long as the new president lives up to his promises.
So we expect the Jubilee side, Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy president, they should stick to the manifesto. These young people who are with me, they are unemployed. We have got so many challenges. Our prayer is that they deliver as per their manifesto.
However, Joshua Dea says that he agrees with Odinga's decision to contest the election's results.
No, we are not going to take law in our hand as 207. But now we have another room. If we are not satisfied here, then we will go to court.
The reaction in Odinga's home base of Kisumu to the Kenyatta victory was more extreme, with some calls for secession.
If the others who voted for that other candidate cannot come together with the rest of the country, then we are ready. We are ready to have our own republic.
Back in Mathare, residents were quick to say that they will continue being friends after the elections are over. And some, like John Gatiba, say they are focusing on Kenya's future.
Please, guys, maintain the peace, go back to work, and let's move the country forward. An election is just a short-time moment, but we have a lot to do for this country, and that is what matters at the end of the day.
Voter turnout was 86% in this election, with more than 12 million votes cast.
That's the package we put together for you this day on Inside Africa. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for our programs continue.